is 27 News First at 11.
The Kentucky Wildcats are advancing to the national championship game.
And UK fans in New Orleans are celebrating the chance to fight for an 8th national championship.
Police and firefighters are having to work fast to make sure that these couches don't catch fire.
It was cats and chaos. I'll take you downtown to the Avenue of Champions where the party spilled into the streets.
27 News First starts now. Good evening, live from the Big Easy in New Orleans, where thousands of UK fans are celebrating the chance to go for an 8th national championship. It'll happen Monday night here in New Orleans at 9:16. The Cats now 37-2 after beating the Cards 69-61.
And I can tell you there were a lot of excited fans coming out of the dome here ready for a good time in New Orleans. But before we get to all of our game coverage, we want to get you to some breaking news out of Lexington. Post-game celebrations have turned dangerous in parts of downtown. Take a look. Our officer Don shot this video from 27 Sky First shortly after UK's win over Louisville. While there was celebrating and some couches burned in other parts of the city, this area of State Street is where things got out of hand tonight. Crowds set fires and even overturned a car.
State Street is on the way in from Limestone as you head into downtown. It's between Con Terrace and University, so it's right before you get to the medical centers on the opposite side of the medical centers. As you can see from Sky First, the flashing lights of fire trucks, they had a really tough time tonight trying to get to scenes because of the crowds in the streets. Let's also take a look at some eyewitness pictures and videos we've got of the destruction as well. A really unfortunate situation here happening on State Street where apparently some fans flipped a car.
And an eyewitness shot of some video that we have of fans actually burning a couch also from State Street. There have been reports of injuries from the chaos as well. WKYT's Kristen Kennedy was with firefighters tonight, and she is live now with more on this breaking situation. Kristen, good evening to you. What is the situation right now where you are?
Well, Amber, good evening. What firefighters are trying to do right now is get another car that was set on fire off of State Street. They have really had their hands full right there tonight because, as you're about to see, State Street just exploded when the Cats won. Our cameras caught it all in the heart of student housing right on State Street and Elizabeth. Celebrations turned to riots. Watch as students jumped on this fire department SUV. Thankfully, police in full riot gear were able to get us out safely.
We have engines running up and down here, commanders running up and down here, responded to everything that we find or that we hear about. We're putting them out and dragging them out to where streets and roads can load them up and take them away.
Firefighters then had to turn their attention to reports of couch burnings. Students overturned one car and through it all, they are saying this could have been a lot worse.
We've been in the middle of this. A lot of people are patting us on the back, thanking us. The kids that are around the fires are moving back. They're being pretty respectful right now.
Now, last we checked, police were trying to get a tow truck onto State Street to get some of those overturned cars out of there. Live in Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT 27 News First.
Kristen Kennedy, thank you so much. Now we're taking a live shot of State Street, and that is an area where things are starting to calm down somewhat. There is still a heavy police presence in that area. This is one of those areas that was really wild tonight in all of this celebrating. And this was really no surprise. All week, city officials from the mayor to the police chief to the fire chief have been saying to the fans and the public, listen, we're going to tolerate only so much. We're going to let you have fun, but we're going to draw the line. And when you start destroying property like cars and setting couches on fire, we're going to step in. We're told that police officers have video cameras and have made some arrests and probably more arrests to come. So it's been a serious situation. We hope that none of the injuries we've heard about are serious. We did have a report from the Herald Leader that they had somewhere around 3 dozen couches, Amber, that had been set on fire. And we're being told from our people that are out and about on the street that from police that part of the problem out there is that things are actually being tossed at the police, and so they're trying to do their job, but now they're also encountering some dangerous situations themselves as well. Again, but that is the live look there at State Street where hopefully things are starting to calm down. Back here in New Orleans, a big win tonight. It sure was a big win. In fact, Dave Baker just telling us that it's the largest number of wins ever by a UK basketball program. Let's turn it over to our experts in sports, our Mr. Rob Bromley and Dave Baker standing by now more live from New Orleans. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Sam. It's on to the national championship game. Kentucky and Louisville tonight here in the semifinals, the Final Four. Dave, Kentucky played well. The Cats can certainly play better. This was a game that got off to a good start. Second half got off to a good start, but it still took a good run there in the last 9 minutes to put away a pesky Louisville team, 69-61.
Absolutely. I want to defer 1 minute. Both these teams showed incredible class. And the stuff that's going on downtown shouldn't be tolerated. If people are out there and they've got cameras, help the police. Get pictures of people. This is not the way we do things. Right. And it shouldn't be. It's no celebration or anything. It's just a bunch of lawless people that are out there trying to take advantage of a situation. And it's time we cleaned up Dodge City.
What about the way John Calipari's team took control after it was tied up at 49? And Louisville did a great job to come from 13 down and tie the game.
Well, they came back from 10 down in the first half, as you remember, Rob. It looked like Kentucky was going to run away from it. They didn't go ahead and put them away. And when you keep a team around like that, Louisville got going a little bit. Kentucky went up, as you said, 13. They hit a 6-minute drought. But then when it came to stretch time, this team bounces back so many times. 49-49, Terrence Jones, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, they had not had a great night. They scored the next 11 points for Kentucky in the midst of an 11-2 run.
All right, for all the highlights now, let's send it back to Lexington and Lee K. Howard. Lee K.
Hey, thanks, guys. I didn't get the front row seat that you guys had there at the Superdome in New Orleans, but we had a good sight here in Lexington. A trip to the Final Four on the line between Kentucky and Louisville, this game marking the 5th time these two great rivals have met in the NCAA tournament. First time ever in the Final Four. The Cats have started the game great early on all the time, and Marcus Teague was sensational early, giving the Cats the 10-4 lead. Anthony Davis then backing down on Gorgui Dieng and hits the baby hook. Davis with a monster night. Cats by 8. UK running. Terrence Jones with the slam, and the lead has grown to 10, 16-6. But Louisville would counter with Wayne Blackshear. The drive and the dunk. Nice game by the freshman. Speaking of great freshmen, Anthony Davis with the lob, and he knows what to do with it. Back to a 10-point lead, but Louisville clawing their way back. Russ Smith, the steal and the score. That would cause Coach Cal to call a timeout. A 6-point ball game, 26-20. After the timeout, Duran Lamb goes right at the basket, hits the off-balance shot, draws the foul. UK up by 9. The Cardinals with a great play then. The behind-the-back pass to Dieng for the hammer and the foul. The lead down to just 3. Kyle Wilcher, just 1 3 in the ball game, but he always does this when the Cats need some momentum, pushing the advantage to 34-28. Rick Pitino, his team down 35-28 at the break. Second half, Darius Miller steps up. Anthony Davis rejects that shot right there. Darius with the layup there. Then Peyton Siva. A tough 32 minutes for him tonight. Anthony Davis rejects his shot. AD with 5 blocks on the night. Louisville, though, with one last push, down by 6, and that was Wayne Blackshear with the follow jam. But you knew the answer would be Anthony Davis, and the best freshman in the world takes care of it. The big dunk, and then Siva brings the game even for the first time since it was 2-2. Rick Pitino is pumped. 49-49 all, but Michael Kidd-Gilchrist rallies the Cats. The spin move and the dunk, 53-49 Kentucky. MKG had 9 points on the night. UK had more gas in the tank. Darius Miller, that was a huge three-pointer in the game. A hug from Cal after that, and then there was the nail in the coffin. Anthony Davis, the one-handed hammer, and Kentucky beats Louisville 69-61. They advance to their 11th NCAA title. And like Rob and Buzz were saying in New Orleans, a great game for the Cats. The Cats showed that resiliency that not many times the young teams can show. And for more analysis on the game, we now head back to New Orleans to Dave Baker and Rob Bromley. Guys.
Thank you, Lee K. And no question, Dave, this Kentucky team showing a lot of poise. As a young team, it shows the poise that it has all season.
You know what they do? They lock things up under John Calipari as well. Last 78 games, Kentucky is 77-1 when they hold opponents under 67 points. They take care of business when they should. It started early in this one with Marcus Teague. Everybody talked about him. He didn't have a great game against Louisville the first time they played, but we see him kind of blossom as a point guard here in the latter half of the season. And to start the game, it was his penetration, I thought, that really opened up the offense.
Well, it did, Dave, and let's hear some of the post-game comments now, starting with John Calipari, who talked about the fact that his team has got to play better.
We did not play at our best tonight. We played good, but that wasn't our best. You know what? So maybe Monday is our best. We're just worried about us. We don't know who we're going to play. I will say this. We must play tougher than we played this game. If we don't, it's going to be a hard game for us to win, because I think toughness is going to be the factor in the game. Talent and all that other stuff, and team, whoever we play is going to be an outstanding team. So we're going to have to play tougher than we did this game.
It was just a close game, very emotional. We fought all game, and just to go to a national championship, with the team that we have, starting 3 freshmen and 2 sophomores. It's just great. We got a great team, and we just one game closer to our dream and our goals. So it was a lot of emotion there.
He did what he's done all year. He blocked 4 or 5 balls. He scored around the basket, had a couple offensive tip-ins. The greatest thing about him is his teammates make him better, and he makes his teammates better. They were trying to play him, so Marcus Teague was shooting layups to start the game. Like, if you're not going to play him, Marcus will shoot layups.
These guys don't play like freshmen. I mean, y'all been watching them play all year. They play like seniors in college. We've been successful in those situations throughout the whole year, so I don't have any doubt in them. Not at all. I mean, I have almost all the confidence in the world in them because, like I said, they don't play like young players. You see how talented they are, how good of teammates they are. So I'm not worried about them at all, and they've came through all year.
We believe in it. Other players' nights. It might not be your night, and it'll be somebody else's night. And so that's just how we play around that. If it's that person's night, you respect it, and we'll go through that person, and you'll just try to keep fighting until you feel you're ready to go.
Post-game comments for the Wildcats after they defeated Louisville tonight in this Final Four, 69-61. And let's break down the game. Starting out, Kentucky getting out of the gates off to such a good start, and Marcus Teague was really the reason for that. He scored 6 points in the first 3.5 to 4 minutes, Dave.
Everybody,
had 4 assists in the first half.
Everybody talked about Peyton Siva's penetration, but Marcus Teague, who did not play that well in game 1, he was really something. I mean, 4 of 8 from the field. He had 2 rebounds. He had 5 assists, and just 2 turnovers, and that's the kind of margin he has had all throughout the postseason.
Anthony Davis really had the kind of game that he's had pretty much all season long for this Kentucky team.
20th double-double. Now think about this for Anthony Davis. All the attention he's gotten this week. He's gotten every major Player of the Year award. He was going to be a focal point. Remember, who did you have? You had Chris Smith, who said, we're going to take it right at him and try to foul him out. Well, he only had 2 fouls. But what he did, he almost had a perfect game. He was 7 of 8 from the field. He hit 4 of 6 free throws. He had 14 rebounds, a dozen of those on the defensive side, to go along with 5 blocks, 2 assists, and only 3 turnovers. The guy's poise is unbelievable. He just plays and plays and plays. And oh yeah, did I mention the most valuable player on that floor was on the floor for 39 of the 40 minutes.
Louisville had hoped to get him in foul trouble, couldn't do it. When the game was tied up at 49, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist had missed a couple of free throws there. It wasn't having a great game, and then he really stepped up, and I'll always remember that spin move that he made for the dunk.
It was not only Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, but Terrence Jones. Both those guys really having so-so nights. Kentucky and Louisville tied 49-49. Kentucky goes on an 11-2 run. And it was Kidd-Gilchrist and Jones who had all 11 of those points in that spurt. They're guys, and I talked to Terrence about it after the game, for guys that have gotten all this attention in AAU ball, for guys that have so much ability, if it's not going well, they don't get frustrated, they don't get selfish, they don't take bad shots, they just play and play and play, and that's one of the things John Calipari doesn't get enough credit for.
And again, Darius Miller steps up tonight. That three-pointer that he hit down the stretch was one big shot, and he has done it in the clutch. He did it again here tonight in the Final Four.
Now, he's done it in the clutch, but think about this now. Remember back a year ago, Cal took him to task publicly when he didn't take that shot and he made that bad pass at the end of the Ole Miss game. Remember that?
Right.
And he said, you got to take it. How can you not take the shot? And he went through all this criticism. And time after time this year, he's hit big shot after big shot. He was 4 of 7 from the field. He hit all 4 of his free throws. He had 13 total points. He has come up so big in this postseason for Kentucky.
Kentucky 69 and Louisville 61. It is amazing how close the score was to the time they played back on New Year's Eve.
You're right.
It was only 1 point off. It was 69-62. But it's on now to the national championship game to take on the Kansas Jayhawks. And in this game, the second semifinal tonight, it sure looked for a lot of the game like it was going to be Ohio State, but that's not the way it turned out, as Kansas was able to come from 5 or 6 points down in the last few minutes to pull it out.
Now, if you want to talk about basketball royalty, remember, Kentucky and Kansas are the 2 winningest programs in all of college basketball. There's that whole thread of Adolph Rupp and the influence that he had at Kansas as a player, then at Kentucky as obviously as a coach. Kentucky has been installed as the early 6.5-point favorite in this one. I think most folks are going to think that Kentucky's an even bigger favorite. The Cats beat Kansas up in Madison Square Garden back in November. It's just another one of those rematch games, but this is just my opinion. I think the players in Cal played down this Louisville thing all week long. That big thud you heard that was on the Richter scale, that was that monkey that was being thrown off Cal's back. But I think it's the same thing for the players. They got through this game. I think they're going to be completely loose because Louisville was playing on house money tonight. They weren't supposed to be here. Everybody from day one said this Kentucky team was supposed to be in a national championship game. Well, they're here now. Lace them up. Let's go.
Well, for the Louisville Cardinals, they are now headed home, losing here tonight to Kentucky in this national semifinal. Rick Pitino obviously disappointed afterwards, but really happy about the way his team performed down the stretch and here in the postseason.
And they have a great basketball team, one that I know John is really proud of. And to tell you the truth, I haven't always liked some of the Kentucky teams. I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't always liked, but I really like this team a lot, because of their attitude and the way they play, and I'll certainly be rooting for them hard to bring the trophy back to Kentucky, because I'm really impressed with them, not only as basketball players, the way they carry themselves, their attitude, and they're a great group of guys and doing a tremendous job. So Louisville will be rooting for Kentucky, which doesn't happen very often, to bring home that trophy to the state.
Coach Pitino said he came up to you after the game and said he hopes you guys win and bring the trophy back to the state of Kentucky. Can you just talk about what that means? And you know, as the
I think it's neat. And when I was at UMass, I can remember hugging him and telling him, I'm happy for you and I really want you to win the national title, and he did the same to me tonight. So I think it's kind of neat.
Yes, Rick Pitino telling Coach Cal he hopes he wins it. He hopes he brings the championship back to the state of Kentucky on Monday night.
I took issue pretty clearly with some of the stuff that Rick Pitino had to say earlier this week. He could not have been classier tonight. Yeah. He could not have been more gracious in terms of what he had to say about Cal and the Kentucky players. Same way with the guys in the Louisville locker room. Hats off to them. Remember, only one place to see it. That's right here. CBS coverage begins 9 o'clock on Monday night. Tip-off is set for 9:23 Eastern. It's Kentucky's 11th appearance in the national championship game, and they go for their 8th title overall.
That's after defeating Louisville 69-61 here in the Final Four tonight. Let's send it back now to Sam Dick and Amber Philpott.
Thank you, Rob and Dave. Great job, as usual. The Superdome filled to capacity, over 74,000 people, Amber, and both of us noticed right away that this was anything but a home game for UK, because the Ohio State fans and the Kansas fans were rooting for the Cards. Although there were a lot of Wildcat fans in there, there are also a lot of people cheering against them.
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of friends in there today. So to say the least, when all of our fans started pouring out of the dome, they were so excited. I ran into many house divided folks, and I made sure to ask, are you going home okay? And many of them were, but so many of these fans so excited to get to extend their stay here in New Orleans, and you know what? They were ready for a party in the Big Easy tonight.
I mean, of all the teams that we could have played for this game, I mean, Louisville was the team to beat, so we're excited.
This has been the most exciting experience I've had, and that includes the birth of both my children.
That's pretty big.
Just in case anybody wanted to give us a championship, they can have my children in return. If we could just, I'd give both of them away.
I'm ecstatic. It's a great game. Great game. Yeah. Great game. Good rivalry, though.
Pretty excited. Great performance by Anthony Davis. Cards put us in some bad situations with our rebounding and free throw misses, but you know, Cats' talent prevails. Coach Cal did a great job putting Gilchrist on Siva, and Cats are going to championship game.
One day, I'm about to go sleep somewhere on the curb and wait for the game one day. It's Wildcat to the heart of me. We're always there.
Championship number 8. It's ours, number 8.
Hey, we can't wait to get Calipari to finally get on that number 8 bandwagon. Oh, the bandwagon of the blue.
It's a pretty good bandwagon to be on right now, that's for sure. I'm sure that Bourbon Street is rocking right now, and these folks, they are so hungry, but we know what a heated rivalry this is between UK and Louisville, so you know, you kind of had to worry to see how these people would mix afterwards, and for the most part, coming out, everybody was doing okay and pretty excited. Like I said, those folks that were red and blue walking out together, they were still friends or wife or husband or whatever.
And that was not the situation, at least in terms of UK fans celebrating. As we reported at the top of the newscast tonight, it got out of control, specifically over at State Street off of South Limestone, where we had couches being burned, cars being flipped, arrests being made, bottles being thrown. But fortunately, in some other areas where we had people celebrating, it doesn't sound like we had quite that amount of property damage.
We want to go now to our Melissa Edazadi, and she is in the Woodland Euclid area to tell us what things are like there.
The intersection of Euclid and Woodland is now back open, but just about an hour ago, this place was jam-packed with fans celebrating their Wildcat win. We got the opportunity to actually go into a bar and hang out with a bunch of UK fans. We were there from tip-off all the way to the last second when UK won. This video that you're seeing right now is of those fans celebrating. That celebration actually came over and flooded into the streets. There were people cheering, going absolutely crazy for their Wildcats. We had fans popping champagne bottles, high-fiving riot police. Now, the riot police did tell us a few days ago that they were going to be out here being proactive to make sure that nothing got out of hand. And really, to be honest with you, things have been pretty tame around here. We did talk to some UK fans who said, you know, they're a little bit uneasy once that game got tied up for a quick second, but they knew their UK Wildcats would pull through.
Nervous. I was pretty comfortable. We were up 10, a solid 10 to 12 the whole game. But when they cut it to like 2 points second half, I got real nervous. You know, we all got nervous. We all started to calm down, but we pulled it right back up to 10 like we always do.
We've lost 2 games, and I wasn't wearing this jersey. Superstition is real, BBN. Let's go, Cats. Hey. Let's go. Number 8. Come on, baby. Let's go.
Just a reminder that Euclid and Woodland is back open, but police say they're going to have a presence here this evening as the fans continue to celebrate throughout the night. But fans aren't only celebrating here, they're celebrating all over Lexington, including over at the Avenue of Champions with our Tim Johnston. He is there taking in all the fun with all the fans. Hey there, Tim.
Thanks, Melissa. Well, down here at Limestone and the aptly named Avenue of Champions, things are calmer now, but earlier it was all about the C's, Cats, Cards, Chaos, and now Championship.
Nuts. I've never been to anything like this. I'm from Lexington, and this is awesome.
That was unbelievable. I can't believe I got to see it. I'm so happy it was a rivalry game. This was awesome. I'm so happy to be a fan.
I got the tweet that Limestone is closed, and I was ready to celebrate. I was so excited.
Awesome, baby. I love that the Cats won. I'm so excited that we're going to win a national championship, baby. It's going to be awesome.
Well, the streets are now swept and back open here on Limestone, but earlier police had the block completely closed off before the game ever ended, and officers were standing by in riot gear just to keep things under control. And while there was a lot of excitement and a few fireworks, police say there was nothing major that happened as these fans celebrated the Cats' pursuit of greatness. Live in Lexington, Tim Johnston, WKYT 27 News First. Now back to Sam and Amber in New Orleans.
Tim, thank you very much. Lexington police officers, all of them were on call tonight, so that's more than 500 police officers, body armor, pepper spray, batons, and also had cameras, so doing some videotaping, so perhaps there may be some more arrests in the days to come if they spot someone they can identify.
Most certainly. Well, stay with us. We'll be back with more on the UK Final Four victory and the tense situation that is now playing out there in Lexington on State Street. A crowd causing damage and police out in riot gear. It was quite a scene. We will go back live to Kristen coming up next.
And a live picture now of South Limestone Street, where it has calmed down some since earlier tonight. Thousands of UK fans in Lexington celebrating the gift that they have received going into the spring months and going into April. Going to be playing for an 8th national championship on Monday night. About 9:16 on CBS and WKYT. We'll have more live coverage from New Orleans coming up after this.